Hey everybody, welcome back to the Harmonious Path with Jen. Because I always forget this, I'm going to get it out of the way right now. I also have an Instagram, the same name, The Harmonious Path with Jen, and my website, harmoniouspathcoaching.com, and that is where you can sign up to work with me one-on-one for private life coaching. So with that out of the way, let's dive into today's topic. So now that the holidays are over and we're well into hibernation season, I want to start talking a little bit about shadow work. So you can do this any time of year, but a lot of people, myself included, really enjoy doing it this time of year. It's, colder and darker, maybe a little bit snowy here in the northern hemisphere, and people tend to just not go out as much, not be as social, and be a little introspective anyway. So the shadow is a term that was coined by Carl Jung, and it is the disowned aspects of yourself. It's those areas that we cram so far deep into our psyche that we almost forget they even exist. And we do this because maybe we were conditioned by society or our family to behave or not behave in a certain way. It may be because of trauma, abuse, any number of reasons can cause this. A common aspect of shadow is anger. You may have been told as a child that it's not okay to be angry, that it wasn't okay to express your anger. So to avoid getting in trouble, you learn to just push that down and ignore it. So what's wrong with not getting angry? Doesn't that lead to arguments and fights? Well, it can, but if you ignore your anger and push it down, it's going to just grow and fester deep down until one day it just explodes like a long dormant volcano. And that is going to be far worse than if you had expressed your anger when it first arose, and got it out in a healthy manner. So learning to integrate your anger and learning to address it in a healthy, logical manner will prevent that volcano from erupting and allow you to handle things in a much more rational way. The shadow can also contain positive aspects. I have a friend who has a really big, boisterous personality, and she can get kind of loud when she's excited about something, but I just thinking about her, it just brings a smile to my face. She's so cheerful to be around, and she's a joy. She is a genuine ray of sunshine in everybody's life, but she wasn't always that confident in herself. Children are often told that they should be seen and not heard. Don't speak unless you're spoken to. Use your indoor voice. Don't be so loud. And as we grow up into adults, that can lead to extreme self-consciousness. And that's what happened to my friend. And it took a lot of work for her to really get comfortable with being her authentic self and letting her joy just shine through. Shadow work is not, however, about excising those parts of yourself. It's about uncovering them and learning from them. Why were they relegated to the shadow? What can we do to bring them back into ourselves and to integrate them in a healthy manner? So before we continue, I want to give a big warning. Shadow work is not for the faint of heart. It is hard and it can be ugly and you will cry and things might feel a little bit darker, sometimes a lot darker, before you really come out the other end and have these aspects integrated healthily into yourself. So if you think shadow work sounds dark and mysterious and spooky, it's probably not for you. If you're not ready to face these things, it is not to be taken lightly. Sometimes when issues are really deep, you might need outside help. You might even need to get professional help. So this is not to be taken lightly. Still with me? Okay, let's talk about some ways that we can identify what are our shadows. Where do you judge other people? Things that we judge, the projections that we put onto other people, bothers us because almost always they are an aspect of ourselves that we are ashamed of or disapprove of in some manner. Jealousy is another sign of shadow. What events keep popping up in your life that you just can't let go of? Is there maybe a mean comment that a classmate made to you 20 years ago and you still remember it and you still get angry when you think about it? Chances are that was more than just kids being kids, and that comment, while the kid might not have intended anything truly negative, it may have triggered something deep inside of you that is impacting today how you act in your life. Where do you struggle to make progress? Does it feel like you can never get ahead financially no matter how tightly you budget or how much you hustle? Maybe you can't lose weight no matter what diet you try or how much you exercise. Or it feels like you're always dating losers. Chances are really good that there's some shadowy stuff around those issues. So now that you have a couple of ideas of how to find out what your shadow aspects might be, let's talk about how to do shadow work. So first off, I highly suggest you schedule time for this. An hour or two, whatever works with your schedule, whatever's going to work for you, schedule it in. And this is time that nobody can interrupt you. Put away the phone, step away from the internet. It can also be helpful to meditate for 5 or 10 minutes or longer if you want, just to clear your mind and get yourself in the right headspace for doing this work. So you might have a general issue or a specific event. If it's a general issue, such as weight loss, think about the first time somebody told you that you were fat or that you'd be really pretty if you just lost a few pounds. Direct quote from my past. So think of that issue, think of that moment in time, bring it to life. Think about where you were, who you were with, be as detailed as possible. What were you wearing? What sounds, sights, smells? What could you feel? What was going on in your life in general at that time? Really put yourself back into the mindset of the age you were and put yourself back into that situation. Now, what I want you to do is we're going to work on a limiting belief. Limiting beliefs are a huge part of shadow work. So bring the event to the forefront of your mind and answer these questions. Fill in these blanks. She, he, they are. This references the person or people that were involved. So they are, fill in the blank. I am. What do you think about yourself at this moment that the event happened? Life is. What do you think life is at this exact moment? Therefore, I must. What must you do because of this situation? So here's an example from my own work. When I was around 7 or 8 years old, I had a next door neighbor friend who was a couple years older than me. And I was over at her house one day and I found some coloring sheets that were mine, but they were in her drawer. When I asked her about them, she said, "Oh, you gave them to me. Don't you remember?" And I said, "Well, no, I didn't. I knew I had not given them to her." And when I said, "No, I didn't give them to you," she said, "Well, yeah, you did." And I just didn't push the issue and I just let it go. So it seems like this is kind of not a big deal, but when I started working around this, here's what I came up with. She is a liar. I am mad. Life is unfair. Therefore, I must not trust women. Whoa, let me say that again. Life is unfair. Therefore, I must not trust women. And sure enough, I have almost always struggled to form and maintain close friendships with other women in my life. So this turned out to be a really big issue for me. And then I could see, once I uncovered this limiting belief, I could see where else in my life it was playing out. So the next step is think about what you wish had happened. If you had all the possible tools and knowledge and experience at your disposal, if this could have gone any way you wanted it to, what would have happened instead? So write about this or think about it. In my case, I wish that I would have pressed the issue and asserted myself and not letting her just kind of push me away and honestly gaslight me. And really be firm in what had happened. And she might not have changed her answer. So when you have this new situation and how you wish it would have happened, think about how you feel now. Now we're going to redo this. So because the other person might not change, or you might not necessarily view the other person any differently, you can modify this. You can either take the first part, he, she, they are, out, or you can modify it as I have. So my new belief is women are human. I am strong. Life is a manageable challenge. Therefore, I will enjoy life. Now, this is a great first step, but you can't just have this new belief and write it down and move on about your merry way. You have to integrate this into your life. So you need to take 3 action steps that you can do over the next 7 to 10 days to really begin anchoring this new belief. One of these might be as simple as repeating your new belief as a mantra 100 times a day. In my case, I invited a female coworker to lunch. So once you have your new belief, you need to continue to work with it even beyond that first 7 to 10 days, but those first 7 to 10 days are critical for beginning to anchor it. But then you need to keep working with it and keep working with your action steps in order to fully solidify it into your psyche. It takes time for this to happen, and if you don't continuously work on it, your old belief is going to maintain its hold on you. So it can also be helpful to look at the situation from an outsider's point of view, as if you're watching a TV show. What would you say to that character in the show? What would you think about the situation? Or if it was a friend, what would you tell your friend about what had happened? How would you help them through it? If you're an artist, you can create art or music or whatever creative expression, dance, anything that helps you get the emotions out and to feel them and really process what's going on. Also, be sure to record your dreams while you're doing shadow work. Dreams are the subconscious mind's way of processing what happened through the day. So keep a notebook and pen by your bedside, or you can use a voice recorder. There's an app for that. And write down your dream or record your dream in as much detail as you can possibly remember as soon as you wake up. The longer you wait, the more the dream and details will fade. I also like to perform a burning release ritual after a shadow work session. So what I do is I write on a slip of paper what I want to release based on revelations of that particular session, and then I burn it. Be sure to practice fire safety. Either burn it in a sink, in a fireproof container, or outside on concrete, and always have water nearby when you're burning anything. Finally, self-care is absolutely vital when you're doing shadow work. You need to be gentle with yourself. Do not berate yourself for how you behaved in the past. Do not judge your shadow. You have to be kind to yourself while you're doing this. And remember that self-care is more than just a bubble bath, though that can also be self-care. It's also staying hydrated, getting enough sleep, exercising. It doesn't have to be intense, just moving your body every day and getting your blood flowing. That's all part of self-care. So have you delved into shadow work, and do you have any experiences you want to share? Leave a comment and let me know what tips you have. And until next time, be kind to yourself and those around you, and let your light shine for all the world to see. Bye.